Did you know that some tenors and baritones can sing as high as sopranos? On this installment of Things to Know at LAO, we're talking countertenors. Hi, I'm Paul Hopper. I'm the Senior Director of Artistic Planning for LA Opera. A countertenor is one of the many Fachs within the larger group of opera singers. Fach comes from a German word that refers to essentially the voice type. So you may be most familiar with terms like soprano, alto or mezzo, tenor, baritone, and bass. And the countertenor is a special and rarer Fach within the group of opera singers that is a male singer that is singing in a range that is typically referred to as more of a feminine range. Any type of singing, whether it is opera or rock or pop or jazz, all has three essential components to it. There is the breath, there's the vibration, which are the vocal folds vibrating at a very fast speed, and then resonance, so the parts of your body that the vibration passes through and becomes a resonating cavity. So the difference between chest voice and head voice and then falsetto also, which is when a male is singing in the highest range, really comes down to the vocal folds. So I make this shape because vocal folds are V-shaped within your throat. They are about the size of a fingernail or up to a dime, and they're thinner than a guitar string. And so if you're familiar with any type of stringed instrument, the looser and thicker the string is, the lower the sound. When we sing or even speak higher in our range, what's actually happening is our vocal folds are stretching and becoming thinner. From the chest voice to the head voice to the falsetto, the actual vocal folds are stretching, becoming thinner, and then becoming kind of a razor sharp edge against each other. The chest voice is what we as speakers are the most familiar with. Most people speak in their natural chest voice, and then singers train to access their head voice or the falsetto, which is where the countertenor voice lives. The male vocal range is the widest and most dynamic compared to the traditional, what we refer to as traditional female voice types. I wouldn't say that there's actually really a limit to it, because there are some male singers who in their falsetto can sing up to the stratospheric notes that we often think of, like Mozart's Queen of the Night with her famous coloratura passages to the top. There are male singers who can access that. But even above that, some singers can access what's really known as a whistle tone. This is almost like a false manipulation of the vocal folds, so it's an inherently unnatural point of access. If we look to the pop world, these are kind of the famous Mariah Carey lines that just live all the way up in the stratosphere that sounds very breathy or airy, but we don't really see that often in the operatic literature, and it's not incorporated into the role of Akhnaten. Akhnaten, if we compare it to soprano or mezzo or alto roles, it's kind of an in-between. It's a medium to high sitting role. The tradition of countertenors goes back to the Baroque era, where a countertenor meant a very different thing. Back then, they were actually referred to as castrati, and that is referring to a rather gruesome tradition of castrating young male singers before they would hit puberty and their voice would change, in an effort to maintain that almost like youthful, childlike, prepubescent sound. Needless to say, that tradition does not exist anymore, so many countertenors begin as either a tenor or more commonly a baritone, and then through either training or by happenstance, by just fooling around with trying to sing in different ways, they may learn that they have access to this head voice falsetto range. So it's essentially a trial and error. I know many countertenors have found that it took them seeing another countertenor in action to think, oh, I didn't even know that that could be possible. Maybe I'll go try that in the practice room or with my voice teacher. I think it makes a lot of sense why Philip Glass chose to write the role of Akhnaten for a countertenor. When a composer approaches material to set to an opera, it's really up to them how they want to assign the voice type to each role. But Akhnaten is really known for shifting the trajectory of the types of religions that we saw in the world. In the time of ancient Egypt, Akhnaten was known for moving the religious worship away from worshiping multiple gods, or polytheism, to worshiping just one god, the god Aten, the sun god. So since Akhnaten is almost this conduit between the living world, the afterlife, and the sun god, by assigning this role to a countertenor, which even in modern days when people encounter a countertenor, it sort of surprises them sometimes. I think that's really in line with the historic figure of Akhnaten. He was a pioneer, he was unexpected, he grabbed people's attention, and he really shifted the entire paradigm of religion. So for it to be written for the rarest of vocal fachs, I think really suits the character incredibly well. Get your tickets now to see star countertenor John Holliday in the title role of Akhnaten at LA Opera.